What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with Dilly Vanilli. We are here for our very own Pro Bowl draft. I will be representing the AFC. Dylan will be representing the NFC. Of course, Patriots, Cowboys fans here. And we're going to be taking the original Pro Bowl rosters and doing basically a fantasy draft. We're going to go off of basically like a standard 11 offensive guys, 11 defensive guys. So that would mean one quarterback per side, one running back per side, two receivers, one tight end, offensive line, two D ends, one or two D tackles, depending on if you want to play a 3-4 or a 4-3. And then you have 3 or 4 linebackers and 2 safeties and 2 cornerbacks. So that's how we're going to draft. Basically, I don't know who's going to go first. Dylan, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? How do you want to do this?
I'll let you go first. You know, I like to follow up on everything, so you go first.
Okay, so I'm going to go first. Because the Pro Bowl is tomorrow, I kind of thought like this would be a good time to maybe do a Pro Bowl video that's a little bit more fun, because the Pro Bowl isn't very fun. So
let's try.
Yeah. If these teams actually played each other, this is going to be the vote. So if you guys think that my team's better at the end of it, then you vote for me. And this is in a real football game. This isn't the Pro Bowl. So we're not giving like free touchdowns or anything like that.
No.
Like it's a real football game.
Real game.
My team versus Dylan's team. You vote in the comments section, and that determines the winner. So let's start off. I'm first pick. I'm going to go with, who else? Tom Brady.
Of course.
Tom Brady, my favorite player of all time. Also think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, so I'll take him at number 1.
Okay, with my quarterback choice, also unsurprising. Well, maybe a little bit surprising. I'm going with Matt Ryan here. The 2 Super Bowl quarterbacks. Matt Ryan put up fantastic numbers, his best season by far this season, and he's led his team to some great games and an opportunity at the Super Bowl. So with my pick, I'm going with Matt Ryan.
Okay, so this next pick is interesting because I could go anywhere. I wanted to get my quarterback out of the way. Could it be a receiver? Could it be a running back? Maybe I'm going to go defense. I'm going to go with a running back. I'm going to go with Le'Veon Bell from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that he was the biggest difference maker from a skill position this season. Other, receiver, running back, tight end. He was the biggest difference maker, in my opinion, this season. So I'm going to take Le'Veon Bell.
See, that's interesting. I got to go with myself with a running back too, just because I want this guy to be dynamic. And everybody talks about how great this guy was coming into the season, how we expected him to have a good season. And just because his team had a shitty record doesn't mean he didn't do good. I'm going with David Johnson as my running back, which is surprising considering.
Surprise! You didn't go with Zeke. What's going on, bro?
I did not go with Zeke. I think David Johnson, we didn't get a lot of credit for what he did. A lot of all-purpose yards, a lot of scrimmage yards that had his team done better would have gotten a lot of recognition. So don't get me wrong, I love my boy Zeke, but I'm going to go with David Johnson on this pick.
Okay, so there's a lot to choose from again here. I'm looking at a pass rusher, and I'm going to go with the guy that will most likely win the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with Khalil Mack at the defensive end spot for my team. So that's my first defensive player, Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack. It's always a good choice. But you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go to the receiver side because that's what I like to do all the time. I'm going to go give me somebody that's explosive. Somebody that can make plays. And, I have a feeling has some good chemistry with the boy, Matty Ryan. I'm going with Julio Jones as one of my 2 receivers here. Julio Jones knows how to make the big plays, make the greatest touchdowns and whatever. Certainly the best receiver, in my opinion, in the game. So I'm going Julio Jones.
Okay, so you got your receiver. I'm going back to the defensive side of the football.
Yeah.
I'm going to partner Mack up with Von Miller. How does that sound?
Oh God, that's pretty good. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get me a defensive end here because I gotta beef up the defense after you just got two fantastic players. I can only pick from NFC, correct? That's the goal.
Oh, you can pick from anybody.
Well, thanks for telling me that after you got those two great players. I was like, that's what it is. Let me think here. I gotta make a good pick. You know what? I'm gonna go with my inside linebacker, or one of my linebackers here. I'm gonna go Sean Lee. I need somebody that can beef up the defense a little bit, and he's still on the NFC side, so I'm gonna go Sean Lee on this one.
Okay, Sean Lee. That was kind of surprising. Because I don't want Dylan to get the two best receivers in the game, I'm going to take Antonio Brown for my offense. Partner him up with one of the other Bs. We got the triple Bs. Brady, Brown, Bell. Let's go. That's the actual killer Bs right there.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go get a receiver again, because even though this man take Antonio Brown, this guy knows how to make highlights, and he can partner up pretty well with Julio Jones. I'm going to go get OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. on my wide receiver list.
You better make sure that there are no boats in Miami for your team.
Oh shit. Well, they're in Orlando, so, you know.
I'm surprised you didn't come back with a Facebook Live joke, bro. Come on.
Facebook Live. You know, Antonio Brown. God, I don't even want to get into that.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the defense. This is interesting. You picked a linebacker. I picked one linebacker, one defensive end. I'm going to go to the big men that don't really get a lot of credit. I'm going to take Aaron Donald for my team.
Interesting. I'm going to go here with an interesting tight end selection, because there's not a lot to go from in this tight end game. I don't think Rob Gronkowski can be picked in this one. So with that in mind, I'm going to go pick the big man from KC, Travis Kelce. The man that's been standing out all year, made the biggest plays for Kansas City down the stretch. Going TK.
Ooh, Travis Kelce. So I can basically wait because you've already picked two receivers, so you can't pick another one.
You pick another one.
And you've already picked a tight end, so you can't pick another one. So I'm going to wait on those. I'm going to go to linebacker. I'm going to go with the guy that did get injured, sadly, this season, but I still think he's the best inside linebacker in the game. I'm going to go with Luke Kuechly from the Panthers.
Interesting. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my cornerback position, one of my cornerbacks. I really like this guy. Even though he's for the wrong team, I think he was probably, in my opinion, the best cornerback of the year. I'm going with Janoris Jenkins out of New York. I think the guy was very good this year. He made some big plays. Made that defense a lot better. So
you definitely know what he plays like, because you saw them beat you twice.
Twice. Yeah, he was a big factor of both of those. So you're on mute.
I'm on mute. But because you picked cornerback, I'm going to go with a cornerback myself. I'm going to pick a guy that used to play for my Patriots, Aqib Talib.
Wow. I mean, I guess you can't make personal judgment.
You got the chain. You got to go with the guy with the chain every single time.
You can pull the chain. Don't put him and Michael Crabtree on the same team, though. Don't do that.
Thankfully, Michael Crabtree isn't on the Pro Bowl, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, he was all right, but he didn't make Pro Bowl. You know what? I need to go build up my offensive line, because I need somebody to beef it up. And if there's anything Dallas knows a lot about, it's an offensive line. So I'm going to go for the tackle side. I'm going Tyron Smith on this one. I need to beef up that offensive line a little bit. Let's go Tyron Smith.
Okay, Tyron Smith, not a bad pick. Biased Cowboys pick. You know how it is. I'm going to go to the safety position. There's a couple guys that I could pick here. One's named Eric Berry, and the other one is named Landon Collins. Those are the two ones that are in my head right now. I'm going to go with Eric Berry because I think he provides some more leadership to my team, to that secondary with Talib, two AFC West brothers playing with each other.
Well, good, because my next pick is Landon Collins, because that's exactly who I wanted on my team. Although I like Eric Berry, Landon Collins' play this year was a huge improvement, and he showed why he was one of the better defensive players coming into his draft. So I'm going Landon Collins.
Okay, so I got two linebackers. Do I want another one?
And that doing?
Not really. Not really yet. I think I'm going to take a defensive end, and this might shock some people.
Oh, God.
But I'm going to go with Jadeveon Clowney.
Whoa.
As another defensive end. I think he really improved, and just because the sack numbers aren't exactly up there, he was arguably a top 5 disruptor in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm going to go with Jadeveon Clowney to partner up with Khalil Mack and Von Miller in my pass rush.
Next, I need to go with the linebacker. He's already got Von Miller, which sucks. Probably should have wanted to get him. But I'm going to go ahead and get Anthony Barr out of Minnesota here. I think he was talented. You know, he came in with expectations, and he proved to have a pretty good season this year. So I'm going to go with Anthony Barr on this one.
Okay, I'm going to go with a guy in the middle on one of the best defenses in the past about 5 years. I'm going to go with Bobby Wagner and team him up with Luke Kuechly at the middle linebacker position.
Boy. All right, I need to go get me another offensive lineman, and I'm going to go with the guard position. Of course, you know, if I know anything, again, with the Cowboys, I'm going to go with what, in my opinion, is the best one of them all, Zach Martin of the Cowboys. Excellent player, probably the best one of the best offensive linemen in the league. So I'm going with Zach Martin.
All right, Zach Martin. So he's got 2 Cowboys on the offensive line. I'm going to counter him with another tackle. It's in a different NFC East foe. It's going to be Trent Williams of the Washington Redskins. He's going to be my starting tackle and protect Brady on the left side.
That was a nice pick. That was a nice pick. So we need 3 linebackers, correct? That's where we're working this one.
You can get 3 or 4.
Okay, let's see here. He already took Bobby Wagner. You know what? I'm gonna go with my third and last linebacker of the group. I'm gonna go get KJ Wright out of the Seahawks because the guy is super underrated on that Seahawks defense, but might be some KJ Wright there. So pick him as the outside linebacker choice.
Okay, so I have 2 defensive ends. I have 3 linebackers. I have 1 D tackle. So I can rather decide to go with another linebacker or I can go with another defensive tackle. And because my team is loaded with pass rushers and kind of smaller, faster talent, I'm going to end up going with another defensive tackle. There was a lot of really good players here, but I feel like teaming up Aaron Donald with the guy that had the most sacks at the defensive tackle position, Geno Atkins, would be a great add. So I'm going to go with Geno Atkins. Despite the Bengals being kind of a poor team this year, Atkins did put up a ton of numbers, and I think my pass rush is just going to overload people with Miller, Mack, Clowney, Donald, and Atkins. So I'm adding that.
Atkins. I need to go get me a defensive end here because I just it needs some depth here. I'm going to go with Cameron Wake out of the Dolphins. And I know he's got Khalil Mack, he's got Jadeveon Clowney, but a lot of people sleep on Cameron Wake out of Miami, and they improved to 10-6 on the year. I think he was a big part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get me Cameron Wake.
My front 7 is loaded. I have 1 safety. I have 1 cornerback. I'm going to get another cornerback, and I'm going to get, in my opinion, maybe the best athlete in the entire draft. Patrick Peterson.
Oh, nice. I'm going to go ahead and pick Gerald McCoy out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's certainly a good guy that can make some pressure, make some good plays, and I like Gerald McCoy, so I'm going to go with him.
All right, so he's got his first defensive tackle. I have 2 defensive ends, 3 linebackers, 1 safety, 2 corners. So I still need a safety. But I'm going to go to the offensive line because I need offensive line help. I only have 1 tackle. So I'm going to go with the man from the Baltimore Ravens, Yonda. He's consistently been at least, if not the best guard in the league, one of the best guards in the league. So I'm going to add him to my front along with Trent Williams.
Interesting. I'm going to go give me another D lineman. I need at least 1 more player in that position. And I don't believe you got this guy, Fletcher Cox. I believe that's...
No, I don't. The guys that are left on the board that I can see are Sue, Casey, and Cox, and I have not picked Cox. I can only pick 2 defensive tackles, so I went with Donald and Atkins because I thought that would be maybe the best duo.
Okay, I like that. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Cox on this one. I think that's the best combination for me with McCoy. I think these guys can get a lot of pressure, make some big plays. So I'm going to go with Fletcher Cox of the Eagles.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I'm going to take the center away from Dilly Vanilli. I'm going to take Travis Frederick from the Dallas Cowboys, team him up. So I have Trent Williams at tackle. I have Yonda at guard, and I have Frederick at center. Got to build the 2 more linemen.
Man, you suck. I'll go ahead and take somebody from the NFC East as well, however. I'm going to take Jason Kelce of the Eagles. I would have liked to get Travis Frederick. However, I think Jason Kelce is a nice center that is quite efficient in his area. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jason Kelce.
I'm going to take my other tackle, Mr. Consistent. I know he plays for the Browns, but I'm going to go with Joe Thomas. He's arguably a Hall of Famer. And maybe if he was on a good team blocking for Tom Brady, he would play like the best in the league once again. So I'm going to go with Joe Thomas.
This guy, I know he's injured right now, but if we're talking Pro Bowl, we can select him at this point. I'm going to go with Marcus Peters. He's very talented, very skilled. He makes a lot of interceptions, for his first 2 seasons. So I think he's a great choice. And even though he's got Barry, go ahead and take Peters right here.
Yeah, I can't put Peters and Barry together. Too bad. But somebody I'm going to put with Mr. Barry is I'm going to give some love to my Patriots. I'm going to put Devin McCourty at the free safety position with Eric Berry moving back to his original spot of strong safety. I'm going to have McCourty. I think he's kind of gone under the radar in terms of coverage. He's the Patriots are number 1 in defense and scoring defense for a reason. I think Devin McCourty is a big reason, not giving up big plays. So I'm going to have Devin McCourty lurking over Odell Beckham and Julio Jones.
That's nice. Let's go with Clinton Dix as much as
just because of his name, right? I think that's what it is.
It's totally what it is. Nah, but for real, he's not been a laughable player like Brandon Carr. He is actually talented, and he makes big plays for the Green Bay Packers in a defense that was, let's be honest, pretty crappy this year. So he was one of the standouts. Going with Clinton Dix.
I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I need another guard, and I think that's it. I have Yonda at guard, Thomas and Williams at tackle, Frederick at center. So I'm going to go with Osemele from the Oakland Raiders. I think he was a big time player for the Raiders. Reason why their offense was one of the best in the NFL. They could run the ball, pass the ball. Add him in there with Yonda, 2 big aggressive players. I'm going to go with Osemele from the Raiders as my other guard and last offensive lineman.
Guard position, somebody that was, pretty consistent on their end, even for a crappy team. We got to represent, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go with Josh Sitton, I can't pronounce that correctly, of the Bears. I think he's, a pretty standout guard, and I think he'll get the job done with a bunch of the Cowboys and Jason Kelce. So
now I'm kind of like in no man's land because I have my offensive line, I have my running back, I have 1 receiver, I have Brady. I don't have a tight end. I need another receiver. Defensively, I'm stacked. I have everybody. So I'm going to go to the receiver department. I am going to pick AJ Green. I know he's injured right now, but technically he'd be able to play. I think we have to represent. And for me, we're representing the 4 best receivers of the last couple of seasons. So I'm going to go with AJ Green and Antonio Brown, 2 AFC North guys, versus Odell Beckham and Julio Jones.
Man, that would be a spectacle right there. I need to get one more defensive end, and I don't believe this man has said Everson Griffen off the board. So
no, I haven't.
I will take Everson Griffen. I think he's very underrated, and that Vikings defense was loaded this year, won them pretty much every game. So I'm going to take Everson Griffen. I think he was a big part of that.
Okay, my last offensive pick, I do believe, is going to be a tight end. You have Travis Kelce, who I do agree, best tight end this season, not named Rob Gronkowski, but he was injured.
Okay, I was about to say he's injured.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Mr. Consistent, Greg Olsen from the Panthers.
I was like, that's your only other pick. That's the only one. All right, so with my last pick, I got to get an offensive tackle. And, through and thick and thin, another Eagles player has to be on there. We're going to be well represented in the NFC East for the offensive lineman. We're going to get Jason Peters. I think he's quite talented. He can get the job done, and you need some big boys up there. So I'm going to go with Jason Peters.
All right, so there's our rosters. You're going to see a screen right now of the teams. My team, Dylan's team. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I mean, vote below who you think should win this game or who you think would win this game if these two teams faced each other. I think they're pretty even overall. I mean, all these players are great, so it's kind of, what are your personal preference on the team choices. Right. Hope you guys enjoy the Pro Bowl if you can. I don't know who's going to watch it or whatever. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it, but it's always fun to do these kind of fantasy drafts with the best players in the NFL. So from Mitch and Dylan of the Bottom Line View, again, vote below. Thanks, guys, for watching, and peace out.
Peace.